Spike Lee joint I didn't even know I wanted to see. Seriously, I didn't like the trailer, but something told me to give this film a chance, and I'm so happy that I did. Denzel Washington proves again why he is a generational actor. But let me be clear, Jeffrey Wright is no slouch as Paul, King's right-hand man and his best friend. Highest to Lowest is a remake of a Japanese film by the same name, but I suspect with some modern retouches. David King has a reputation for having the best ears in the music business, but he also sold a controlling share in the stock of his record company, and he's trying to get the leverage to buy it back. This just so happens to coincide with the abduction of both his and Paul's sons. The kidnappers want $15 million, but things are complicated when King's son is released while Paul's son is still missing. The ransom is still $15 million, or Paul's son dies, and this is where we get our first real dilemma. This money is everything that King has. Does he risk it for a kid that's not even his own? Even when his son pushes King, King pushes back and sets him in his place in a very raw scene. It's an interesting what if because it's made very clear King is considering not doing it. After a long night of soul searching, he relents and agrees to the exchange. Now let's pause right there. It is, I think, a fair moral conundrum, I guess, on some level. King's leveraging everything that he has for that money, for the $15 million, his art, his penthouse suite, his jewelry, among other things. But he relents and he decides he is going to help his best friend. The exchange happens and it's a complete shit show with the police being honestly not really useful at all throughout this entire film, with the kidnappers ultimately getting away and David now backed into a corner with Paul by his side with his creditors coming. It only continues to get worse when David notices a voice on the song and he can tell that that's the kidnapper. He does have the best ears in the mute business after all. Now that said, the cops are still useless and decide not to follow that very credible lead, staring down the barrel of bankruptcy or just straight up being insolvent while creditors are coming in within 2 weeks to take his penthouse along with all the art and all the other stuff he put up as collateral. King gets underway and he goes to collect. David and Paul go to the young man's apartment where his girlfriend slash baby mama reveals a lot about Archie, aka Young Felon, aka ASAP Rocky, which how Archie looks up to King as a father figure, but after years of being ignored, he took things into his own hands and he set up this whole plot to get rich and get David's attention. It's at this point I'd like to again mention, I don't know if ASAP Rocky is a good person, I don't know, I don't follow his rap, but he plays an asshole pretty convincingly. That's a compliment. There's also this interesting exchange where he calls his girlfriend a bitch and David just leans on that. Why is she a bitch? Blah blah blah. Why is she a bitch? And I believe it's a subtle commentary on the culture. How can we expect people to respect our people if we're so busy being disrespectful ourselves? I'm saying that from Spike Lee's point of view, that's all. And it's here lies one reason why I really like this movie so much. While I am a sucker for conundrums, I also can empathize and see what's like in a like-minded rapper with culture oozing out of this whole film. The mixture and the hurt feelings, feeling like you're owed something from a father figure that you never met, to also thinking that you should be tough and steal things and take things that you never earned. There is a dodgy rap battle sequence which is a little off. Denzel's delivery is on point, but also his on point is a little rubbery. It gets hard to hear at some points. Not in a mean way, just an observation. Dodgy rap battle ensues, but then a gun battle ensues that claims Paul's eye, but David still knocks out Young Felon and gets his money back. With his newfound stardom, however, Young Felon rises in the charts and he comes to a plea deal, willing to go to prison for 25 to life. 25 prison, that's the agreement. However, he wants to talk to David one more time. It's at this point that he tries to convince David to sign him to his record label, claiming, and not necessarily rightfully so, but he's not wrong, that attention is the greatest commodity in our modern day. However, David relents and he says he's starting his own smaller record label so he can be closer to the music, which I understand. And this is the point where we kind of see how bad of a stan Young Felon is. It's a pathological need to see how badly he needs King's approval, and how, if King signs him, it's validation from the father figure he never had. But again, King obviously refused. David is no longer seeking to be the biggest, he just wants to get back to the basics of making soulful music with his family involved. The style and the cinematography of this movie is just outstanding, along with the music and the story. It's all engaging and I'm into every moment of it from beginning to end. For me at least, it's an 8 out of 10 and definitely a potential top 10 film of the year. But what did you think of Highest to Lowest? Let us know down below. It is available on, I believe, Apple TV. And yeah, catch you all next time. See you everybody.